Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have a foundation first impressions and review for you. It's been a little while since I've reviewed a new product here on my channel, and I love testing out new foundations and doing wear tests for you guys. So for today's video, I am going to be trying out for the very first time the Believe Beauty Skin Finish Foundation. Now I know this isn't extremely brand new here on YouTube, and I've seen a lot of people talk about this foundation and rave about this foundation, and I think a lot of people find this very unique because it is only $5 and the brand is exclusive to Dollar General, which you wouldn't necessarily think to go buy makeup there, at least that I wouldn't. And I wouldn't think that they had anything different than just those generic drugstore brands, Wet n Wild. I saw they had LA Colors, some Maybelline, but this brand, Believe Beauty, I believe is exclusive to Dollar General, and I've just heard absolutely amazing things about this foundation, and for only $5 I had to test it out myself and see what all of the hype is about. So today I'm going to be trying it out for the first time with you guys, and we are also going to be doing a wear test and everything like that. So I really hope that you guys enjoy, and if you want to see my first impressions on Believe Beauty's $5 foundation from Dollar General, make sure to keep on watching. Just quickly jumping into some of the details of the foundation, as I mentioned, it retails for only $5, which this packaging is so nice for only $5, if you guys can see. Pretty sure this is made out of glass. It's like really weighted and heavy. Definitely feels like it could be a high-end foundation, but the packaging is really great compared to some other like cheaper $5 foundations that I've tried before. The shade that I picked up in the foundation is the shade Soft Beige, just because when I went into the store there weren't a lot of options available. Now I don't think that this Soft Beige shade is going to match me perfectly. Again, there were slim pickings in the store, but I have my turtleneck on today as well, so hopefully if the shade is too light or too pink, it won't be too distracting, but I don't think it's going to be too horribly off for my skin tone today. On the Believe Beauty website, this seems to be available in 18 shades. Not the greatest shade range. I'll put a picture on the screen right here of these swatches on their website. Definitely seems that there are more options undertone wise in the lighter shades, and then there's kind of a big jump to get to the deep shades, which I've mentioned this before. I don't know why we're still seeing things like that in 2020. The shade range is just not evenly spread out. Even if you look at this picture right here, I don't think these are all of the shades that are available, but you can see all of the different undertones and the different option for those people with more fair to light skin going into the medium range. But then as it gets darker, there are just not a lot of options, which is something we need to work on. Come on, Believe Beauty, it is 2020. Please come out with more shades. As far as just a little description, it says it's a medium to full coverage foundation that blends effortlessly for a flawless look. It's a blendable formula that blurs imperfections while smoothing your skin. So it doesn't have any claims as to being like mattifying or luminous or oil control or anything like that. So I really don't know what to expect with this foundation. I have heard from other people. I posted this on my story, and a couple of you guys reached out to me via Instagram DM and told me that you love this. It's really good for your oily skin. So I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more of a mattifying foundation. And also I forgot to mention that it also has the most gorgeous gold pump to it. So again, incredible packaging for only being a $5 foundation. All right, so I just went ahead and threw my hair back. You guys know the drill. I'm going to prep the skin first, and I like to always show you guys the prep just so you could see exactly what I'm doing to the skin. So I'm going to be starting off with my MAC Fix Plus. When I try out a new foundation, I always just like to use my tried and true products. And then of course going in with my tried and true primer, which is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is really universal, tends to work really great with a lot of different foundations, and I just like something smoothing, and this does also give a little bit of some nice hydration to the skin as well. Ooh, okay, I am so excited to try this out. Now we are ready for the foundation. I don't know exactly how much of this to use. I'm going to be going in with a damp e.l.f. Total Face Sponge. Just my favorite sponge ever. I think I'm going to dot it on the skin. Again, I don't want to put too much because I don't know how full coverage or if it's heavy or anything like that. But I'll start off with one cheek Maybe that was about like half a pump of product. And so far the shade honestly doesn't look bad. I actually think it might be pretty good for my skin right now, but let's go ahead and start blending it out to see. I just put some directly on my sponge for this cheek because I just feel like I get more coverage when I apply it in that way, opposed to just kind of lightly dotting it on the face. And you guys know I do like a pretty full coverage. Ooh, okay. Wow, this looks so pretty so far. Here's the bottom half of my face done with about 1.5 pumps of foundation total. This is looking so beautiful. Hopefully you guys could see. I know sometimes with the studio lights it's a little bit tricky, but it looks really pretty on the skin. I don't think it's 100% full coverage. I think it's a very, very high medium coverage. And you guys know I could be very, very picky with my foundation. So I'm so happy that this one seems to be working out for me so far. Again, I want to see like how it wears and stuff throughout the day, but initial application, so far so good. This is reminding me a ton of my tried and true all-time favorite Maybelline Superstay foundation. It has such a similar finish on the skin where it's natural and has high coverage but doesn't look too cakey or heavy on the skin. I would just say that the Superstay foundation has just a tad more coverage. With the Believe Beauty foundation here, I would say it's a high medium coverage. Down here, I think I'm going to go in with a little bit of a second layer, as I mentioned, just some like veining and some spots peeking through, but I think it looks so good on the skin. Definitely not too matte and dry looking, but it's not overly luminous and hydrating on the skin either. So far, I kind of have this feeling that this is going to be great for all skin types, whether you're normal, oily, combo, or you have dry skin. I feel like you would like this as well, but that's just my right off the bat first impression with the initial first layer on my skin. But it is looking so good and reminding me so much of my Superstay foundation. I am really, really impressed with this, and so far I see why it's been getting all the hype that it has been here on YouTube. Now I'm going to go in and just take a little bit more foundation on these lower areas of my face. As you guys can see, I do think that the foundation oxidized. If you could see here how much more light it is on the skin compared to when I first initially applied the foundation. So I do think this tends to oxidize a little bit. And the foundation is sticking to my nose really, really well, which sometimes can be hard for me in some foundations, but it seems to have covered my nose completely. And it wasn't a struggle to get that look. I'm going to go in with my favorite hydrating camo concealer from e.l.f. just to see how concealer is going to perform on top of this. Now for the moment of truth. Typically in my foundation first impressions, I feel like it could start to go downhill when I apply powder, just because a lot of foundations just look better unset, or some foundations that I've tried, like the Fenty Hydrating Foundation, would look gorgeous without powder, but then the second I set my skin, which is something I always do, I have to with my skin, or else the foundation will break down and slip and slide everywhere. But as soon as I set something like the Fenty Hydrating Foundation, my skin just changed. It became so dry and pasty looking on the skin. So ever since I filmed that video last year, I always get scared to set the face when I'm loving a foundation and it's going well. It's something that I have to do, something that I'm going to test out now. I'm going to be using my favorite classic Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. All right, you guys, I think setting the skin was a success. The skin and the foundation still look so good on the skin. I genuinely feel like my skin looks airbrushed. Like even in person, it looks so smooth. and I don't think that the powder made it look overly dry or anything like that. I do have some dry patches, but that's pretty normal. For instance, it's really hard for me to get any foundation to look flattering on this little area under my mouth because it's dry and I have some bumpy texture there, but I'm not blaming that on the foundation. That happens with every foundation that I try. I genuinely just feel like the foundation looks really good and I don't feel like the powder messed with it too much or anything like that. If anything, it made the skin look even more smoothed out with the Believe Beauty foundation, and I am absolutely loving how this is looking on my skin right now. So far, nothing bad to say. I am impressed with the Believe Beauty foundation. So right now I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my face off of camera, throw on a lip, a little bit of bronzer and things like that, and then I will come back to give you guys some final thoughts once the look is complete. The rest of my face is on and I really like how this foundation looks still, you guys. I had a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share with you kind of as I was doing like my bronzer and stuff, and I was able to really further analyze my skin and see how the foundation was just kind of setting into the skin a little bit. I know I said earlier when I first applied it that I think this would be really great for all skin types. As it's kind of settling into the skin, I think if you have really dry skin, you might want to stay away from this foundation. Just again, a little bit of a first impression. I want to see how it wears throughout the day. Maybe it will become a little bit more luminous or something as my natural oils start to break through, but I do feel like it's settled into my smile line pretty fast, which again, that typically happens with a lot of foundations, but I just feel like some of the lines that I have in my face, like here on the sides of my lips, and the smile line that I typically have is a little bit more enhanced than it normally is. And just those like couple of dry spots on my face, like here a little bit in between my eyebrows here, I always have some texture. I do think the foundation is kind of settling in those drier areas and creasing a little bit, especially like around my mouth where I have more lines. I still do really like it. I feel like it just gives this overall like smooth airbrushed finish to the skin, just besides kind of around my mouth where I feel like it could look a little bit better. I really love how it looks on the rest of the face, both in the viewfinder as well as the mirror that I am using. And all of my other face products went on so great. Bronzer, blush, and highlighter. I feel like it looks really good on the skin. I'm really enjoying the coverage, the finish. I am very curious to see how this is going to wear throughout the day. So I started applying the foundation around 11 o'clock. It's taken me a while. Right now it is 12:40, but I want to start the check-in from 11, so we go fairly from initial application. I'm not sure if I'm gonna come back in a few hours or just at the end of the day. Sometimes I feel like that middle check-in isn't really helpful, like not a lot has changed, but if I see anything about the foundation like drastically changing in a short amount of time, I will definitely come back and make sure to update you guys. If not, I will see you at the end of the day when I've been wearing the Believe Beauty foundation for maybe 7 or 8 hours. I'm gonna try to do 8 hours. I feel like 8 hours is a pretty fair wear test, but so far I'm really liking it. I think it looks gorgeous on the skin. I am hoping that it holds up and looks good throughout the day, but we will see, and I will see you guys in just a sec for a check-in. Hi guys, I am back for my first check-in. Right now it is almost 4:30, so it's been about 5.5 hours now since I first applied the foundation, so I figured it was like a good in between time to check in. Although I'm not seeing too many extreme differences about the foundation, I figured it would still be helpful to come on here and show you guys how it's looking. Here's what the skin is looking like. I will go ahead and insert a little close-up so you guys can see really up close and personal, but so far everything is still looking pretty good in my opinion. I definitely think now a little bit of my natural oils are starting to break through, and I'm not saying that in the sense that I'm oily. I'm just saying that I think this foundation did start off looking a little bit more matte than it does now, especially around like my pore area here and like the brow bone. I'm getting a little bit more of that lively look as the foundation starts to settle with the skin, which I really like. I think it looks healthy on the skin. So far, it's not breaking down or anything in any places. And I will say, I definitely think that the foundation continued to oxidize even after I got off of camera. Just comparing the shade of my skin and the shade of the foundation when I first applied it compared to the shade of my skin now, I think it matches me really, really well. But I don't feel like it looks the greatest around my mouth. I'm getting that really deep smile line here, some cracking kind of on the side of my mouth here. Hopefully the camera's picking it up. I don't think it looks horrible, but I think that's the spot on my face where the foundation looks the least good. I don't want to say it looks bad because I don't think it looks really bad, but I think that's like the most unflattering part of the foundation at the moment, if that makes any sense. I'm curious to wear this for a couple more hours and see how it looks when we're pushing like 8, maybe 9 hours. If I could get to 8 p.m., that would be a really great 9-hour wear test. Can you guys see my dog? I feel like you could see the top of his head. So I will be back in just a second for you guys to do our final check-in so you guys can see how the foundation has held up. All right, you guys, I am here for the final check-in of the day. It is 8:47 p.m. It has been almost 10 hours now that I've been wearing the Believe Beauty Skin Finish Foundation. And I have to say, just to keep it short and sweet, I really do like this foundation. I think it looks really great on the skin. And I think it held up pretty well on the skin as well. Looking at my skin now, I definitely do think I am even more glowy than I was earlier. But I was thinking after I filmed my last check-in that that could also be the Poreless Putty Primer, because that does tend to be a little bit more hydrating. If you are more on the oily side, you could use your standard mattifying primers or whatever you use to typically prime your skin. But I love that lively glow that it's giving me in the center of my face. And I just think overall in person and on camera, it just looks so nice and dewy. Now, of course, after 10 hours of wear, I don't think any foundation would make my skin look absolutely perfect. And there are some spots on the face, like, you know, like little tiny spots on my chin or like right there on the nose where maybe I like scratched or was like resting my hand. And the foundation does tend to transfer a little bit, but I'm not seeing any large areas of the foundation breaking down or anything like that. Just some minimal transferring, which tends to happen after 10 hours of wearing a foundation in my personal experience. And I will definitely say that this 100% oxidized, no doubt about it. If I can maybe do like a side by side so you guys can see the shade of the foundation when I first applied it to how it's looking now. I think it oxidized, but I don't think I look orange or anything like that. I just kind of darkened up a little bit to almost match my skin tone perfectly. I still have that creasing again. I could probably smooth it out if I touched it up, but I didn't want to touch up my skin for the purpose of the wear test, but I just think everything is looking so nice. My eyebrows are a little messed up at this point, but I can't really complain about the actual foundation itself. I think it looks really nice. All right, you guys, so that is going to wrap up this final check-in and complete this video. All in all, I really do like this foundation, and I'm looking forward to wearing this more and testing it out more for you guys. So I'm sure you will be hearing about this in the future on my channel if you want an update, if I'm still loving it, if it becomes a total favorite of mine. But I definitely see why this a $5 foundation that you can get from Dollar General gets all the hype that it does. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing me trying out and wear testing the Believe Beauty Foundation. If you guys enjoyed seeing this video today and you want to see more foundation reviews here on my channel, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.